What's up everybody? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up this automation from scratch as if I was in your shoes. And so when we navigate down a little bit on this website, we're going to see this button right here. This is what's going to allow us to download the JSON file, which we will then paste into make.com. So at the top right of the screen here, when you enter make, there's going to be a button that says create new scenario. We'll click on that. It's going to bring us to this page where we will import the blueprint from down here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to fetch the file. And so I've fetched the file, and this is what it's going to look like when you upload it. Once you click save, it's going to bring all of the modules into play like this. From here, you will then get to set it up according to the instructions here. I'm going to go into every single component. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to make a copy of the Sheets file here. So if you click on this, it's going to take you to this Sheets file. And so making a copy is as simple as this, right? So make a copy. I'm going to call this one a fontocopy.com. So that is the difference in this one. Right, so make a copy, and in this new copy is basically what we're going to be changing in the Sheets file. So when I click on this Sheets file here, the spreadsheet is going to be sample analytics dashboard, and by the way, it might change by the time you're looking at this. But what you will need to do is you will need to identify the one that you just made. So a fontocopy.com, that's the one that I just made. And the sheet name, total database, if we go back to this, it's no longer called total database. What it's called now is campaign analytics. You need to make sure that those names match. And so the sheet name, I'm going to change it to campaign analytics. If you leave it total database, it's going to give you an error. This stuff, it's typically going to stay the same, but again, you want to double check that the campaign ID is in C. So in column C, the campaign ID is also C. So you want to make sure that that's always there and that's always the same. And we're going to do the same thing for these Sheets file. So just give me 1 second. And so as you can see, I've changed the spreadsheet ID and the sheet name for each of these 3 Sheets files to the correct one. And so when I click OK, now we know that this section is going to work. The next thing you want to do is you want to add your API key to every single one of these modules. And so if I navigate over to the instructions are going to say that we need to find the API key on this link. This link is going to redirect us to this page. From here, there's going to be the SmartLead API key. I'm going to copy this, and when I navigate back to the scenario, I'm going to delete this and paste my API key there. And I'm going to repeat that same process here. I'm going to repeat that same process here, and for every, actually, that's it, right? So I'm going to repeat that action here as well, and click OK. And then these HTTP modules are going to be Slack modules. And so we navigate back to the instructions, and it's going to instruct us to navigate to this web page. And so when we navigate over to this web page, it's going to allow us to create, give me 1 second. So that worked. The reason why it wasn't working is because I'm in multiple different workspaces, and so just make sure that you're in the correct workspace, but it should bring you to this page, and then from there you will navigate over to, actually you don't need to do this part, you just need to add to Slack, and all you need is one webhook, and that webhook is going to go across all different channels. And just a quick tip, right? So this is going to be posting to one channel, as you can see, business notifications. So when we navigate over to the Slack module, this is the text that it's sending. However, if you were to do something like this, right? So you do channel, and then you put the channel name, the channel ID, you can redirect this message to any channel. So despite the fact that inside the incoming webhook, it is posting to one channel, you can always post it to any other channel. And so we'll delete that for now. And what we want to do now is we want to grab the final slug of this webhook. I'll avoid doing that just so that I don't get a lot of webhook requests, but that's super simple, right? You would just add it here and it would give you the Slack URL. And so that's basically everything. Now at this point, you would be ready to run this once. But one of the things that you can do to test these automations is you can disable routes. So as you can see, there's 3 routes here. You can disable each of these routes to ensure that you're testing it one at a time. Another thing that you can do is you can add custom filters for testing purposes. And so in this one, I want to test only for my client. And so let me go ahead and add a filter that's going to check for actually, this is a cool thing that you guys can do. So you unlink this, you run it once, and then all of the data is going to populate up until this point. And so if you remember, or you can rewind, we were only able to see a certain amount of data. But now I can see a lot more data, as you can see here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the client ID, and I'm going to change it to be one client. And give me 1 second, I'm going to find the ID. So I found the ID, and this is the ID, right? This is only for testing purposes. You're going to want to delete this so that you can put all of your clients and get notified for all the clients. And so we're going to go ahead and run this and see what happens. So it's adding rows. And we go back to the right one, which is the one that we have. As you can see, I just added a row. I just added another row. And I'm adding another row. And so that goes to show that this section of the automation is working. And so we can go ahead and disable this route. The next route we can enable is the randomizing route. So we test it. I would add a filter to filter for one campaign and then test that one campaign, see if it randomizes. But that's probably too complex for this video. But it's the same thing as this, right? You add the campaign ID just for this. And then the next one you want to do is you want to enable the group analytics. And then when you run it, it should notify you in Slack, assuming you already have this set up. But that's basically everything. If you have any questions, you run into any errors, any bugs, anything, just message me. I'm always happy to help, and all I want is to deliver automations that are better than what you guys are paying for. So if I can do that, if I can get your help, that would be very much appreciated. Cheers.